Hi Neil, Merry Christmas from everyone at the Cynic.co. Hope you had a nice relaxing time. Conor Hazard has started his Celtic career during a period of quite a bit of high pressure, and especially in the recent history of the club. Are you content with his progress, or would you be looking to possibly strengthen that area during the transfer window?
No, I'm pleased with his progress, and no, I don't think it's an area that we'll be looking to strengthen at all. We've got three very capable goalkeepers. Um, so, in short, the answer is no, Keith. Yeah, I'm pleased with the progress he's making. You know, he's only had 3 or 4 senior games. He's already won a cup medal. So, yeah, it's a pretty impressive start to his career.
We've also seen the team deploy a variety of formations in recent matches. We've had the 4-4-2 diamond, we've had 4-3-3. Have you settled on one formation, or are you quite happy that the players seem confident in quite a few different formations, especially with a view to the game at the weekend as well?
Yeah, I mean, again, we can talk about formations. We're looking at what suits the players the best that we have available and the ones that are in form at the minute. And I've always liked playing with two strikers, especially when they're in form. And obviously Odson and Griff, played quite well the last few games. The diamond can be a very flexible formation, and in terms of the way you attack as well, can give you a lot of possibilities in different areas. Can also leave you a little bit vulnerable at times to the counter attack, so you need good legs in there as well. I thought we were superb at the weekend. It's the best we've played for a while. There was a great tempo, quality, intensity to our play. Absolutely delighted me, and a real sort of will to win. And yeah, I mean, it was a real good step in the right direction.
Neil, you said you won't be looking at the goalkeeping situation. What are the positions you are looking at for the January transfer window?
None at the minute. Just the January window is always very difficult to do business in anyway. But we're getting a few back. We may look in the wide area, but Jamesy's not a million miles away. Mikey Johnson is now almost fully fit as well. So I don't know. You're always looking at options and looking at players who may become available, but we haven't really struck a blow in any direction regarding that, Ronnie, at the minute.
Would you maybe, if you were going to do any business, you talking just one or two then, rather than 4 or 5?
I wouldn't be doing 4 or 5 anyway, So again, we'll just have to suck it and see as we go along. At the minute, I'm quite content. We've only got one injury really with the squad. The squad's vibrant, and Jamesy hopefully he'll be back in training in a couple of weeks.
How big a boost is that going to be for the second half of the season? Because he's obviously a great contributor to the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's hugely missed, with not only his goals but assists as well. And he was just coming into really good form when the injury occurred, and he actually had played a couple of games with it. And it just sort of deteriorated as it went along, and obviously in the end it required surgery. So it's been a very frustrating period for him, but he looks in great shape. He's a consummate professional, and having him back will be like a new signing, really.
On that theme, injuries from the weekend, is Julian going to be okay for Dundee United?
Yeah, he's fit and available. He's in contention.
Neil, can you sum up this week ahead for you as Celtic manager?
It's just like every other week, got we're on a decent run, want to maintain it. Playing a good side tomorrow night who can again be flexible in the way they play. Got good strikers in the team with Clark and Shankland and McNulty, who I know from the time at Hibs when I tried to sign him at Hibs. So I think it'll be a really good game, and then obviously another big game at the weekend. So it's just like every other week, Pete.
Yeah, I know you're trying to play it down and using your old head here, but do you not get the feeling that this could be a defining moment for Celtic?
No, not at all. Not with so many games left to go. And yeah, I mean, you can call it whatever way you want it in the media. We don't see it that way. it's not been. We've had a bad run there. Results were starting to, show a bit of form again, good form and good consistency. And we know things can change very quickly over a week in football or a period of time in football. So, we're not calling this a defining week at all. Other people will, but not from our point of view.
You've watched the players in training. You've watched them produce performances over the last couple of weeks. Do you sense that they're now about to see the real Celtic in the same way they put on a run of games last year at exactly this time after the Old Firm defeat?
I hope so. I'm hoping that. They're capable of it. So we've got the evidence of that to back it up. So you get the bit between the teeth. There's a lot of them showed a lot of good body language, and our fitness levels look good, and our intent to score goals at the weekend look good. So I'm just looking for more of the same.
Neil, after early in the season when you're speaking about, the frailties in defence, results aside, how encouraging is it for you that you've also kept clean sheets in the last 3 Premiership games as well?
Yeah, delighted with that. We're not making individual errors. We're defending a lot better as a unit. There's a lot more sort of calmness and composure about us as well. Although we did concede in the cup final, and again, that's an area that we're looking to improve on as we go along. So getting everyone fit and competition for places, I think, has galvanised everyone in the squad now.
You always said that the dressing room was united even during, that poor run of form. But have you noticed the difference amongst the players as the results come as well?
Yeah, of course. I mean, winning games breeds confidence, and psychologically they're in a good place. I think winning the cup as well was a huge monkey off their back, a massive relief for them, because it dragged on into this season. They completed something that'll never be done again, so I think they're feeling good about themselves at the minute.
Neil, what do you expect from Dundee United in the sense that you look at the last couple of weeks and they've always managed to stay in games and be a threat later on? They're never out of it. Has that been in the back of your mind to make sure you get the game won and settled?
Well, I mean, it's easier said than done. That would be the ideal scenario in every game you approach, really. But yeah, they've got goals in them. The 3 guys I mentioned are all good goal scorers at this level. And they've got a very good goalkeeper. They've been really impressed with Seagrass this season. You watched him against Hibs. He made some incredible saves, kept Dundee United in it. So that is something always that's paramount in your mind. Not to get frustrated, and if it's going to be stodgy at times, we just stay in it and keep trying to break them down as best we can, and just be mindful of the attacking threat as well.
Neil, things have obviously improved dramatically in the last couple of weeks. Have you been able to pinpoint why the form was so poor prior to that? Are there things that you have done differently in the past few weeks to bring about this change?
No, not really. I think we had our problems with the COVID, and it was very sort of stop-start, in terms of the international breaks and, players being away. Few were unsettled for a while, but it seems to all have sort of calmed down, and we've put a decent run together now, and players are starting to really find their feet and find their form. So we don't think it's too late for anything to happen. I do think winning the cup final was a huge lift for them and a huge burden off their shoulders, and they seem to be playing a lot more freedom, which is the style of football that we want from them. A real attacking intent, in the last game, and that's given me a lot of encouragement for the games coming up now. It was really good all-round team performance.
With the January window almost upon us, how does it work at Celtic in terms of bringing the players in? Do you have the final say on all acquisitions?
Oh, we talk about it, yeah. I mean, in the main, if there's a bit of business to be done, we look at the players and we discuss it. In the main, you have the final say. Sometimes, the guys will go, what do you think of this one? Could be good for the squad. It's very difficult at the minute because you can't get out to watch players individually either, and we've not been able to do that for quite a while. So, you're going a lot on Wisecout and you're going a lot on footage and analysis. But like I said earlier in the interview, at the minute, we're looking at players, but we're not even near thinking about pushing the button on anything with the balance of the squad the way it is at the minute, with only one player out. we're quite content with the volume of players that we have and the quality we have as well.
Given the hugely important period coming up, have you had guarantees? Can you ask for guarantees that players won't be sold without your consent?
Yeah, there'll be no players being sold unless it's an offer that we think is the right thing to do for the club and for the squad. But at the minute, like in the summer, right up until October, we want to keep all our best players, and we'll be hell bent on keeping them. I don't expect this January to be as busy as other Januaries before.
Neil, you were talking about your team doing something that won't be achieved again. Somebody that's just passed away this week, Jim McLean, you could probably say at Dundee United, his achievements won't be achieved again. How do you kind of sum up his legacy, maybe not knowing him, but from what he achieved in Scottish football?
I grew up in that era. It was like 13, 14. You had the new firm like Aberdeen and Dundee United, as well as Celtic and Rangers, and he was a giant. His Dundee United team were one of the best, I think, put together in any generation of Scottish football. I remember them beating Barcelona. I also remember them being really disappointed that they lost the FA Cup final to Gothenburg, but incredible achievement. Won the league. He's a giant, really intelligent, great football guy. Got to speak to him 2 years ago when I rang him, and I think he thought somebody was taking the mickey. It's just I was at Hibs at the time, and just asked him for a little bit of advice, but he was a little bit sort of tentative coming forward because he wasn't sure if it was me or not. But a huge loss to particularly Dundee United, because he's the greatest manager they've ever had by a country mile, and some of the players he produced and the teams he produced were out of this world.
Another manager who's struggled a bit recently on the field, but now off the field, is Alex Dyer. Neil, are you able to give him any support or advice, given some of the issues you've had to deal with in the past?
Yeah, Alex is one of the best football men I know up here, and I think it's shocking in this day and age that a guy of his calibre, or a guy of his standing, has to put up with any sort of racism at all. He's our full support here. I know him personally. He's one of the best. I want him to succeed at Kilmarnock as much as anybody else. I think he's a great football guy, and I think he's good for the game here. And we want this eradicated. I think Kilmarnock have come out and supported him very, very strongly, which is brilliant to see. And he has our full support here from everyone at Celtic.
Neil, I'm not sure if you were able to see the programme on BBC last night, but it'll be quite an emotional time in the Old Firm game ahead, bearing in mind 50 years since the Ibrox disaster. It's something that I think affected both halves of the city.
Yeah, my father-in-law was at the game, and luckily enough he left early. So it's absolutely tragedy, and I've been to Ibrox a few years ago. It was one of the most poignant moments I've had in my time here, when we laid a wreath on the pitch. So it'll never be forgotten, and we do think about the families of those who've lost ones. Going to a football match and not coming back, I can't think of anything worse, really.